Hey y'all, and welcome to Politibrawl. My name is Brian, and this Pelosi and Biden staffer spews not just nonsense, but outright debunked lies that CNN continues to platform, and of course Scott Jennings is out here to save the day. This is really the best CNN can do. Let's dive in.
The part that really stood out to me is the president's focus on mis and disinformation. You know, when Trump came into office, I think we don't give Donald Trump enough credit. I will be provocative enough to say I think he's by far one of the best political communicators I've ever seen. From day one, his objective was to undermine truth. If you recall, he did an interview with 60 Minutes and told Leslie Stahl, the reason why I attack the media is so that when you say something about me, no one actually believes you.
Yeah, he told that to her behind the scenes, according to Leslie Stahl.
Sure,
he didn't say
absolutely.
it on TV.
Okay, well then let me use Kellyanne Conway's quote when she said, and this is when I knew we were in an alternate universe, when she said truth is subjective. I knew then that was the main focus for Donald Trump, was to undermine truth. And then what we saw on the entire campaign trail was lie after lie after lie. I mean, the campaign was basically rooted in lies about what he's accomplished, what he's planning to do, all these. And so the fact that the president focused and warned us about the need to focus on this issue of mis and disinformation, social media platforms not fact checking, media not fact checking, it leads us. It really raises this question of what's next for us. How will we know what the truth is? I mean, my old boss, Nancy Pelosi, used to say this all the time. If we can't stipulate to a set of facts, how are we going to work together to lead not just this nation, but to lead the world? And so I thought that was incredibly important for him to point out, because that's something that we're going to have to focus on, and we're going to see this next incoming administration that's going to continue to undermine the truth, because that's a hallmark of Donald Trump.
Scott?
Has Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, or Karine Jean-Pierre ever lied?
I don't know. What are you talking about?
I mean,
I know where you're going with this, but that's not the point.
You're,
Donald Trump stands up at the podium every day and delivers lies.
Your speech is about the truth, and one thing about Biden that has always vexed Republicans is that he spends a lot of time talking about him being the center of truth and the restoration of the soul of the nation, and yet he and his people spend a heck of a lot of time undermining that very talking point, up to and including this year with the massive cover-up of his own
Scott,
condition.
How about
and so
lying to the American people doing COVID?
Well,
right?
about what?
How about that? I mean, drink bleach, right? I could go
Didn't
on and on.
debunk?
That it's not as bad as the flu. I mean, all of those things. And the reality is 500.
You're doing it right now.
500,000 people lost their lives because the president wasn't honest with the country
I don't
about the
understand.
dangers of COVID.
Are you saying the virus was listening to
my point
Donald
is that
Trump?
lies have consequences. And that is.
I just want to make sure I understand that your position is that Donald Trump's words induced the virus to kill people.
No, what Donald Trump's words did was prevented people from protecting themselves and their neighbors, and 500,000 plus people lost their lives. See, that was my point. And more importantly, because of his lies, he didn't create an infrastructure from the governors all the way down to get shots in arms, to get the economy open again.
Jay,
so lies have consequences,
honestly,
and that's what Biden was talking about today.
Honestly,
we have to be aware of that.
This is crazy. I'm sorry, this is insane.
So, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. That's it for us from here.
That's a bunch of nonsense that came spewing forth out of her mouth, and she started this conversation. Her name is Ashley Etienne. And she has apparently been a staffer for both Nancy Pelosi and Joe Biden. So, of course, she's never going to have the guts to actually go out there and say, yes, the Democrat Party has been nothing but a peddler of lies, half-truths, and complete nonsense for, the past 30 years. There was a brief time where the Democrats were actually a centrist party, and we're talking about, maybe illegal immigration hurts the working man. Maybe the crime is out of control and we need to do something about it. And maybe our kids need some better test scores. Okay, that's stuff that you can at least work with. That was back in the early 2000s and the late 90s. Back when Newt Gingrich was Speaker of the House, or at least back in the 90s, he was out very quickly once the Republicans could be rid of him, but that's another topic for another day. And she wants to go out there talking about truth and wants to call out Donald Trump for peddling essentially lies? Are you kidding me? No, seriously. How long can you stand there and say that kind of crap? Because Donald Trump isn't out there saying, I am the purveyor of truth. I have more truth than everyone else. People say I'm so truthful. That's not what Donald Trump is about. He will twist words. He will twist sayings. He'll say one thing to get as an incendiary device to get you to pay attention to one thing over here. That's sort of the art of the deal here. That's rhetoric. Okay? And if you're talking about rhetoric, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to immediately dismiss whatever comes out of their mouths. But Democrats aren't talking about rhetoric here. All right, this Democrat, Miss ETN, is not talking about rhetoric. She is saying that the Democrat Party has a higher moral ground than the Republican Party does because the Democrats care about truth. That is a whole load of hogwash. Okay? Absolute and total hogwash. And right there at the end of this video, she talks about Trump's response to let's just say, the bat out of China that released a virus. And she said that, oh, his response was terrible. Lady, everyone's response was terrible. No one survived this. As a matter of fact, the nations that were affected first had direct ties to the Chinese Communist Party. Northern Italy has a whole bunch of Chinese operatives, and so does Iran. Those were the first 2 nations affected by it. Okay? What are you talking about? This is why Scott Jennings, I don't understand how he does it. I don't understand how he's able to go on CNN every single day and talk about and try to tell truth to power here. Because he's surrounded by a bunch of Democrats. He even has to reach out to Jake Tapper and say, dude, this is nonsense. Can you please debunk this kind of crap? And even Jake Tapper at the end of that video is going, yeah, we need to cut to commercial. Because deep down, they know what the truth is. CNN has to know what the truth is because they sell half-lies. And half-lies are worse than the truth because liars know where the truth is. But people who tell half-lies have forgotten where they put it. And see, these folks the panelists have forgotten where they put the truth, but Jake Tapper, since he works for CNN, he knows where the truth is. He has to cover this up as best as he can because Scott Jennings is just looking over at him and going, I am appealing to your sense of morality, to your sense of truth as a journalist. Tell this lady to shut up because she is peddling nonsense and she's bringing down your organization. And that's why Jake Tapper had to go to commercial in an instant. Okay? Because they know the truth. They do. CNN knows the truth. MSNBC knows the truth. Washington Post, New York Times, legacy media, and legacy cable outlets know the truth. They just refuse to talk about it. And it's all because they have built up this narrative for decades. And they have been talking in these sort of terms for decades, basically feeding into the obscenities, for lack of a better word, of what goes into the minds of rich white liberals that fund these organizations. Well, folks, rich white liberals aren't the only people that make up the Democrat Party. You've got working class folks, you've got minority voters who are looking at what the Democrats are selling and going, absolutely not, we're done with this. We know what the truth is. We know that Joe Biden has been a disaster. And this panel is reacting to Joe Biden's final speech to Americans, which was, by the way, full of complete and utter lies. I was impressed that Joe Biden was able to say that with a straight face. And there's an infamous picture now of him with a box of Kleenexes and a glass of water right next to him. If we make fun of Marco Rubio for not only being short, but for having to drink water in the middle of a speech, oh yeah, Joe Biden's fair game. And thank God he's leaving. Thank God we elected Donald Trump. Maybe with another Trump White House, we can start cleaning out the nonsense, and maybe the media is finally facing the music and realizing that they start to have to, be telling the truth, or else they're going to lose the entirety of the Democrat coalition that's been built up since FDR. That's what they're going to lose, and you know what? They deserve it. With the way that they have treated the Biden regime, with what they've done while he's in office, and how they tried to lie about it. People like Miss Ashley ETN, who knows what the truth is, instead chooses to lie constantly. That is absolutely unconscionable. And Scott Jennings, Bless your heart, dude. If you're trying to speak truth to power, keep doing what you're doing. Because even Jake Tapper knows that this woman is full of it. Folks, my name is Brian. Hope you enjoyed that segment here on Political Brawl. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you on the next one. And until then, y'all have a good one.